This has been a pretty wild season for the New York Rangers with all the trade news and updates and reports that have come out involving the team, as well as the kind of interesting run of play where the Rangers start off the season pretty good, are looking like one of the better teams, then obviously have a very long, just awful stretch of kind of play. And then, as of late, since the beginning of January, the beginning of 2025, this team has started to turn things around a little bit and have gone on a little bit of a kind of, not necessarily just winning streak, but just overall kind of better run of play, which is exactly what you want to see. So in today's video, we're going to talk about a new kind of update / report here from that JT Miller kind of trade situation, and kind of talking about maybe why that deal actually ended up falling through, and kind of talk about whether or not it still could be on the table, as well as we'll talk a bit about the New York Rangers and kind of how they've turned things around there and kind of some reasons for that, as well as just kind of talking about their good overall run of play as a whole, because that is definitely something that is nice to see. I mean, obviously this team is probably not going to go on to win the Cup this season, but seeing this much better run of play is definitely a very nice thing to see. So now let's talk about the JT Miller kind of whole trade situation here that's kind of going on, and the kind of update that we got pretty recently. So first off, Saturday, this past weekend, we kind of got a report basically saying that there was a trade between the Rangers and Canucks that was very, very close to happening, that would have sent Philip Hedl, a first-round pick, Ryan Lindgren, a couple prospects that seemed to be possibly Yaroslav Milarch, as well as Adam Sikora. So two decent prospects, a first-round pick that may or may not would have had some protections on it, as well as, Philip Hedl and Lindgren as well. So all that for JT Miller. And now the reports that are kind of coming out are basically saying that the deal did not fall through from the initial reports that made it seem like the deal fell through because both teams could not come to an agreement on the first-round pick protections that, that first-round pick that was involved in the deal. I guess maybe the Rangers wanted to see it, possibly hypothetically be, top 5 protected, and the Canucks said, no, we want it fully unprotected, or whatever that kind of, situation was. It apparently was not that. It was not regarding the first-round pick and kind of why this deal fell through. Apparently, and from what we're getting now, is it seems like the deal kind of fell through because of the Rangers not wanting to take on the entirety of the JT Miller contract. And we have a little kind of quote here from Frank Saravalli, a very reputable NHL insider, kind of talking about this whole situation. And Frank ends up saying, quote, "It's abundantly obvious that they're trying to make something work with JT Miller. And I think some of the pushback that I got was from the Rangers' end. Was not so much that it was a clause that was related to the first round pick being moved, but that it was the Rangers not being willing to take on the entirety of JT Miller's contract that ended up being the hang-up." And that's interesting because the initial report, like I said, was that the Rangers and Canucks could not come to an agreement on the protections on that first round pick. And now we're hearing that it's apparently because the Rangers did not want to take on the entirety of that JT Miller contract. And that makes me a little happier because I talked about it in yesterday's video where I kind of feel like, with the way things have been going in the reports and kind of what's been going on, that maybe Chris Drury is kind of getting a little desperate and really is trying to force a trade here with JT Miller to try to make something happen here and kind of salvage this lost cause of a season for the most part. And obviously, there definitely still a possibility of seeing this Rangers team make playoffs, and we'll talk about that in the kind of later part of this video. But, I do think that going out there and, starting off the kind of trade talks, which what was reported, the 1-for-1 trade where Zibanejad would have went for JT Miller, obviously that gets declined. And then pretty quickly, it seems like things got flipped around towards that big package of Hedl, Lindgren, Yaroslav Milarch, a prospect, and Sikora, another prospect, plus that first-round pick for JT Miller. To me, that seemed a little desperate of a kind of move, and maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe he's not feeling too desperate, Chris Drury, the general manager, but with everything that's kind of gone on there, to me, I don't think forcing this kind of trade here and really kind of, it's like not like it has to get done here. I don't think you have to kind of make this superstar or star kind of trade happen mid-season here, which, I definitely think, obviously, JT Miller is a star caliber guy, and when he's playing his game and he's on his game, he is a very, very good player. Can be a dynamic, elite kind of center for you offensively, bring a nice two-way game, good defensively as well, bring a bit of a kind of pain-in-the-ass kind of game to play against as well. I mean, he's got a nice kind of makeup of his play style and kind of game there, but I just think with the way his kind of contract is and his age and all that kind of stuff there, that unless this Rangers team is able to trade away Mika Zibanejad, whether it is to the Canucks or somewhere else in a deal as well, where we're getting JT Miller back, but Zibanejad is also kind of going out with his contract. To me, that's the only kind of real way I want to see JT Miller picked up by the Rangers, because If you don't, and you have JT Miller and Zibanejad, then you have two aging centers who both have quite a few years left under contract, both making, $8 million, JT Miller is, and $8.5 for Zibanejad. So that's two aging centers who are not playing their best hockey of their careers right now. So that's kind of why I don't love the idea of having both JT Miller and Zibanejad on this team at the exact same time, but I do still think JT's a good player, and I wouldn't mind seeing him on this Rangers team. I just, like I said, don't know if I love the idea of having both the JT and Mika Zibanejad on this team long-term with their contracts, with the way they are kind of at with their careers right now, being, above 30 years old, both of them. It may not be the best overall thing for this team long-term, but for the here and now, it might not be too bad, but when you're really kind of looking 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, that's where things may look a little kind of shaky there. But overall, right now, yeah, it could be a decent move. That's also kind of why I think it may be a little bit of a kind of maybe desperate move. Maybe that's not the complete best word, but I do have a feeling that maybe Chris Drury is getting a little desperate and maybe feel he really needs to kind of push something along here where, to me, I don't think the team should be kind of forcing a trade here, especially with something that will have as much of a kind of major impact on this team's kind of long-term future as a JT Miller trade would. And now we'll kind of talk about where the New York Rangers are at currently in the kind of wild card standings, kind of how they've been playing as of late, which it's been a lot better. It's been a lot better than that long stretch of awful play. The New York Rangers are right now 6-1-3 in their last 10 games played, which is not bad at all. They currently have 50 points, 47 games played, and currently, as of recording this video, before the few games that are on Tuesday night, the Rangers are in 5th place, right behind the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have 47 games played, 51 points. Then in 3rd place in the wildcard race, obviously, in the Eastern Conference. Then you have the Boston Bruins in 3rd place, 48 games played, 52 points. Montreal in 2nd, so that, obviously one of the 2 wildcard spots there. Same thing with Ottawa, both tied with 47 games played, 52 points. So right now, the Rangers are only 2 points back of a wildcard spot, both the wildcard spots, which, honestly, that's really good news. This team, like I said, has been playing a lot better hockey as of late. Is really starting to make a push towards making a possible wild card spot, and it's going to be tough. Right now is quite a few teams kind of battling for spots. You got kind of 7, 8 teams or so that are pretty much battling for those 2 wild card spots. But the good news is the Rangers are playing a lot better. They're starting to win games, and hopefully they will end up making a couple decent trades here. And, they don't have to just be selling moves or just have to be kind of these rental buying moves. The Rangers can obviously go up there and make a potential kind of Capo trade where maybe this time they're on the Seattle side of things there, where they're going out there and getting that kind of good young NHLer right now, who's maybe not in his kind of best spot of his career right now, someone like a Capo, who wasn't playing his best overall hockey with the Rangers, gets dealt away, and look what he's doing now. He's been on absolute fire with the Kraken there, looking like a much better player. So to me, the Rangers should be looking to make those kind of moves where they're going out there and acquiring some good young talent who's not just going to be a rental, but can also be a long-term piece, can help them now, but also in the future as well. So those kind of trades would be ideal, in my opinion, and I just think overall, it would be nice to see this Rangers team make the playoffs, but it is also a decent draft to have a high pick. But at the end of the day, there I would not mind seeing this team make the playoffs and go on a possible run as well, because at the end of the day, you still have that goaltender, and Igor Shesterkin there, who's going to be back there, who's going to be that top playoff goaltender more than likely whenever he's there. So in my opinion, if you make the playoffs there, you've always got a chance with Igor Net there. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. And also, don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on this entire video, on the JT Miller trade situation, as well as how do you think the New York Rangers have been playing as of late so far in the month of January. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one. Let's go Rangers.